Today we're at Beechworth Jail. I'm not going to stay here, hopefully not for long, but today we're going to be testing ultramarine blue in different brands to see which is the best. I just have to get out of here to do it. Welcome to SLUGA channel. On this channel we do all things watercolour related. I like to use my 30 years experience to help you live, love and do watercolour. So if that sounds like something for you, please consider subscribing and remember to hit the little bell so you get all the notifications and you don't miss out on any of this awesome content. What makes ultramarine blue so popular? It's because it's the only real warm blue, and as watercolourists we look for particular things. We really want it to granulate, or flocculate really, but give you that speckled look. So we're going to be testing a few things. How much lighter it dries, how much weaker as far as intensity it dries, and also how much granulation there is. So how are we going to do this test? In the ideal world I'd have a spectrometer and we'd put this machine over all the colours and look at all the readings, but I don't. So rather than going the whole science way, I'm going to take photographs of each of the colours, both dry and wet, whack it into Photoshop, have a look at the difference in the colours and look at how much it's changed. So it's really the drying shift we're looking at here. So we put it into Photoshop, we average the colour, we click on the eyedropper, look at the readings, do it both when the paint's wet and then when it's dry, look at the difference and that'll tell us how much it's faded as far as value, tone and intensity. The colours we're going to test are French Ultramarine by Winsor & Newton. We're going to be doing French Ultramarine Daniel Smith, Holbein, Ultramarine Deep, Art Spectrum, French Ultramarine, and finally Schmincke Ultramarine Finest. Now there's a lot more brands, but we've just chosen those 5. Ultramarine generally is more violet, is warmer than other blues. And you may be wondering what's the difference between French Ultramarine and Ultramarine. Well, French Ultramarine usually is a little bit warmer. So there's slight difference between French Ultramarine and Ultramarine, but we won't worry about that. It's still the differences between wet and dry that we're interested in. After my coffee, we'll get straight into it. So after some complicated mathematical formulas, I come up with these numbers. I'll show them to you, but you don't really need to see them. They're just for geeks like me. You might be one, I don't know. So the other thing we're interested in apart from drying shift is granulation, that speckledy look we get with watercolour paints, particularly colours like ultramarine blue. So I've put them all up here, you can see them from left to right. So what we're really interested in is the order. Now if you look at the order of intensity change and tonal change, you'll see interestingly that the order is the same for both. And it seems to be Daniel Smith that's at the top. The thing though that I find for me is the most important factor is granulation. Looking at intensity and tone alone, then Daniel Smith definitely comes out on top. However, there's a compromise here. Didn't find the granulation of Daniel Smith that great. As far as granulation's concerned, Holbein comes out on top, but their drying shift is much bigger than all the others. So the overall winner, drum roll, for me is Winsor & Newton. Why? Because it came out second as far as granulation is concerned, and that's a really important factor for me, and it was third for drying shift. So it's a happy compromise between this with good drying shift but not great granulation, and this good granulation but bad drying shift. They're all clapping for me actually. So please let me know in the comments which brand of ultramarine or French ultramarine do you use. Remember, consider subscribing, share it with your friends if you liked it, and I'll catch you next time.